Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing a what's next on Kyrone Davis, the current middleweight contender, following his upset 12-round decision victory over Elijah Garcia on the Amazon Prime preliminary card for the Tank Davis Frank Martin undercard. So before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So Kyrone Davis, you know, I told everybody not to sleep on him. He's a cagey veteran. You know, he knows how to get the job done, and he boxed well. He counterpunched and really boxed well against the young, aggressive Elijah Garcia, and got a deserving decision win, and now pushes forward in the wide open middleweight division. He really made a splash. Now, the thing is he wasn't ranked in any of the governing bodies coming into this fight. So now he should absolutely be ranked, and he should, to be honest, he should move up straight to the top of the WBA, because that was where what's his name was ranked. Elijah Garcia was ranked in the WBA, and he was number 1 in the WBA. So Kyrone Davis should absolutely be on the radar in a major way. So now the big question is, what's next for Kyrone Davis following his career best win and upset of Elijah Garcia? We start at the top with Janabek Alamanhalai. I don't see it happening, because Janabek probably is going to be making a mandatory next against either his IBF mandatory and Dennis Radovan, or his WBO mandatory against Hamza Shiraz. That's an easy fight to make with Shiraz. He's currently fighting his number 4 contender, Andre Milikalovic or something, in his next fight in July. I don't think he's going to take on a PBC guy instead in what would have to be an optional defense, so I don't see that fight happening. Then you got Chris Eubank Jr. Now, if Eubank wanted to fight, I'm sure Davis would fight him, but Chris Eubank seems to only want major big fights. That's why he still has not fought since a very good win last year in a rematch with Liam Smith. So I don't see that one happening, sadly. Then you got Carlos Adames, the reigning WBC middleweight champ now. He beat Terrell Gaucher on the same card as Davis on June 15th. I think he's probably going to be in mandatory mode, or I think a unification bout with Erislandy Lara is going to be hotly discussed. But if neither of those fights work out, I think it's very possible Adames could be facing off against Kyrone Davis, because they're both with the PBC, and it'd be a good way to give Davis a crack and keep everything within the PBC. So I really believe there's a chance we could see Adames and Davis for the WBC title next. So we'll see. Then you got Liam Smith, the former junior middleweight champ. He's fighting in September against Josh Kelly. He's also a DAZN and Matchroom guy. So I really don't see him and Davis coming together for this fight right here. You know, I can't see it. Then there's WBA middleweight champ Erislandy Lara, another one that's definitely possible if Lara and what's his name Adames can't come together for a unification bout, and Lara isn't going in another direction. It's very possible, because they're both PBC guys, and Davis is coming off of a big win over Elijah Garcia, especially if the WBA decides, hey, Kyrone Davis is the new number 1 because he beat the previous number 1 in Elijah Garcia. Then I absolutely think that this fight has some legs to it. So this is a possibility as well. Then you got Jamal Charlo. I mean, if Charlo wanted to return to the middleweight division, or even above the middleweight division, and fight a guy like Kyrone Davis, he could get the fight. The problem is he doesn't want, he's got legal issues going on right now. He's been out of the ring. I don't see this fight taking place. Then you got former champion Vicente Gualtieri. I'm sure if the PBC welcomed in Gualtieri to fight. I'm sure Gualtieri would be down for it, but and maybe Davis would be if he wanted to fight, but I don't know. It seems like right now it seems to be that he's above a fight like that. Davis, he's put himself in a strong position to be above a fight like that with Gualtieri, but I wouldn't completely rule it out either. Then you got Austin Ammo Williams. He's coming off of a TKO loss to Hamza Shiraz, but he really made showed a big heart and really fought well in that bout, but just got overwhelmed by Shiraz. But he's also a DAZN and Matchroom guy, so would he want to go following a loss against a guy that fights on the PBC and what wouldn't be a title fight? I don't see that one taking place. Then a rematch with Elijah Garcia. I mean, it's definitely possible, especially if Lara and what's his name and Adames happens next in a unification bout. I really could see a rematch between Elijah Garcia and Kyrone Davis, because I'm sure Elijah Garcia, who was a heavy favorite going into that fight, I'm sure he is not happy that he lost that fight and with his performance. So I'm sure he might want to run that back. Then you got Shane Mosley Jr. I don't think there's a demand for this fight. Mosley is fighting Danny Jacobs next, so I don't see this one taking place. Then there's, WBC number 2 contender Myram Nursultanov. I don't see that one taking place. Just not a big enough name. Nursultanov's highly rated in the WBC anyways, so I don't think he'd want to risk it. Michael Zarafa just got knocked out against what's his name, Erislandy Lara. I don't think Zarafa would want to take on Kyrone Davis following that. Dennis Radovan is highly rated by the IBF. I don't think he'd want to risk that where he's ranked to fight a guy like Davis. Hamza Shiraz. Shiraz is a Queensberry guy. He's fighting for the European middleweight title next, and then after that, I think he's going after either the WBC or the WBO middleweight championship, as he's the #1 contender in both of those. So I don't think crossing the street and fighting a PBC guy when he doesn't have to is on his radar, so I don't see that one. Cornflake Lamana, that one could happen because Lamana, I'm not sure if he's with the PBC, but I know he's worked with them in the past. He's moved himself up in the WBA rankings. The WBA might say, hey, go win this fight, especially if Lara and Adames compete in a unification bout. I could see them ordering an eliminator between a guy like Kyrone Davis and Thomas Cornflake Lamana. So that one definitely is a possibility. This Mikhailovich, who's actually challenging Janibek Alamanhalai in July. I think if Mikhailovich pulls off the upset, he's either going to have to rematch Janibek or he's going to have to make a mandatory defense of the 2 belts that he has. I think Hamza Shiraz is going to be next, but we'll see. But I just don't see Mikhailovich and Kyrone Davis being possible. Nathan Haney, I don't see unless they make a mandatory fight, and I think Davis is going to have bigger name options. Same thing with Connor Coyle. Danny Garcia, I mean, if Danny wants to make his debut at middleweight and it's not the title fight against Erislandy Lara, Davis is an option, but I think it's a bad matchup for him, so I don't see Garcia taking this one. And then you got Demetrius Andrade, which, yeah, I absolutely could see Andrade and Davis locking horns. Andrade's with the PBC, and he's thinking about moving back down to 160. So if a unification bout with Adames and Lara takes place, then I think Andrade, to make his debut at 160, fighting a solid guy coming off of a good victory like Davis here would make a lot of sense. So for Kyrone Davis, I really think he's going to stay within the PBC in his next fight. And there's, I think guys like Thomas Cornflake Lamana, Demetrius Andrade, and even a rematch with Elijah Garcia are very possible. But I also think he could be an option for Carlos Adames or Erislandy Lara for a middleweight title fight. He's coming off a big win. If those guys decide to go in a different direction and not fight each other, in a unification bout, in an all PBC unification bout, then I think that ups the stock of Kyrone Davis. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but he's put himself in the driver's seat to have to get a big opportunity in his next fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on current middleweight contender Kyrone Davis, coming off of his career best win and upset decision victory over previously undefeated Elijah Garcia. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.